tell the Cub Scouts what's going on and how this all applies.
My name is Nina Tortosa. I'm an aerodynamicist with General Motors, and my job in a nutshell is to make cars aerodynamic so that they use less gas. So the end result is fuel economy for our customers. An aerodynamic car is a car that requires very little energy to propel itself through the air. So the more aerodynamic, the less gas it would use. We are currently in the air path of GM's wind tunnel, the General Motors Aerodynamics Laboratory, and what you see behind me is the main fan. A wind tunnel is a simulator, and what the wind tunnel does is it simulates in a controlled manner the car going down the road. Now when the car is going down the road, there's a lot of variables. You have wind gusts that blow across there, you've got other cars that drive by you, and you can't do development on the road. It's not convenient. So we have wind tunnels for that purpose. And so we do all the aerodynamic development inside a wind tunnel, where we can control the speed, the temperature, and the conditions, and do consistent, so that when I change the front corner of the vehicle and drag goes down, well, is that because of the front corner, or is that because the ambient conditions changed? So if we can control everything but the physical change, then I know what I did was good or bad. What we do is we study flow around an object, and you might wonder why we care. If you've ever been on a roller coaster and you put your hands up, you have to keep your hands up pushing against the air. That requires a certain amount of energy. If you then turn your hand sideways, that requires less energy. And the same is true for a car. An aerodynamic car would be a low drag car. And so a low drag car would require less gas, and less gas is less pollutants in the air. So that's why we care about aerodynamics. So then the next obvious question is, well, what's an aerodynamic car? You know, what makes a car aerodynamic? So what I've done, I have drawn on here an outline of a car where I have a rounded front corner and sharp rear corners on the vehicle. And those are the general properties that we look for in a low drag vehicle. And then from a top view on the car, again, we've got the rounded front corners and the sharp rear corners. You want a rounded front corner because then the air stays attached. And as the air stays attached, it kind of stays in line with everything. And really, it's the car that's moving through the air. The more rounded it is in the front, the less it disturbs the air. The more you disturb the air, we actually have what's called a low pressure point behind the car. And if you've ever driven behind the big semi-trucks, you'll notice that they kick up a lot of air and it's kind of messy and turbulent. Well, that's on the back side, that is actually pulling the car backwards. And so if we can minimize that, and we can minimize the difference in low pressure versus the high pressure, then it makes it easier for the car to move itself through the air. But basically, it's rounded front ends means that the flow stays attached, and sharp corners on the back means that it separates nicely and it kind of cleans everything out faster.